Education to me means opportunity. Education to me means unlocking doors, means dreaming dreams and achieving them, means leveling a playing field. In terms of education, we put all of our aspirations for everything for our society on the shoulders of individual teachers. And often we do it, both in Israel and in the United States, without giving them the tools, the time, the support, and basically the trust to do their jobs. And then, when we have not actually succeeded in terms of helping every single child get to his or her God-given potential, then we say we're a failure. But if we want to actually think about what education should be, it should be a way for kids to be able to dream their dreams and achieve them. A way in which we are securing our economy, ensuring our national security, anchoring our democracy, and letting kids have fun and enjoy themselves and feel themselves and the confidence of who they are. I believe that the only way to achieve those goals is if you have a public education system. We've attempted to privatize. We've tried to budget cut our way to success. We've tried to fire our way to success. We've tried to sanction and trust our way to success. And frankly, that has been what the last 15 or 20 years have been about in terms of American federal education policy. And President Obama signed the new federal education law that totally reset education policy in the United States and called it in December a Christmas miracle.
A Christmas miracle because it did what?
It put the brakes on the federal policy that had started with George W. Bush of basically saying everything should be reduced to a math and an English test score once a year. Everything. Academics are reduced to that. Everything, you close schools based on that. You fire teachers based on that. You keep
just those two parameters.
Those two parameters. And what happens is that whatever gets thrown at teachers, things have gone up. They haven't gone up by leaps and bounds. They haven't gone up in the way in which, but the reason I raise that is because this kind of narrative that everything is terrible is not true. And using the narrative that everything is terrible is used so that things like privatization, to excuse privatization on austerity. Instead of privatization and sanctioning and testing fixation and austerity, start with these four things. You build the capacity of the teaching force so that they can actually do all the jobs we want them to do. Not just know our content, but know how to teach it and have a real sense of cultural diversity and a real voice and latitude in terms of that. So building the capacity of your workforce. Number two, powerful learning is really important. I believe very much in powerful instruction that engages them. Number three, focus on children's well-being. If someone has a terrible toothache, or they can't see the board, or something horrible has happened in their family in the last few weeks, forget even about poverty, and poverty in the United States is not like poverty in this area of the world, but 50% of our kids who go to public schools in the United States are poor.
50%?
50%. So we have to wrap services around schools for families. And how do you put all this together? In a collaborative model that is welcoming and safe. And every school I know that builds the capacity of its workforce, engages in powerful learning, addresses children's well-being, and does it in a collaborative, safe way, every school that does those four things succeed.
Would you want your son or daughter to be a teacher? Would you want them to be a lawyer? Would you want them to be an entrepreneur? Would they even have teacher on the list in the States today?
You know, you have a lot of teachers who actually tell their kids not to be teachers. But this generation of millennials really want to make a difference in the lives of others. But there's this sense of when you try to do the right thing and you get demonized for it, or if something doesn't succeed, then you should be fired for it, or you get evaluated simply on the test scores once a year of your students, and then what do you do when you want to make sure that your kids actually have the work you know is important for them, but that's not what you're being evaluated on, that's not what they're being evaluated on. That's what has created huge stress in terms of teachers. There was no breathing space in schools to do the kind of project-based learning, the civic learning, the shared society that we must do. And so on my to-do list, that's big on my to-do list. At the end of the day, you need to have an economy that works for people so that people see that there are families, if they work hard and they play by whatever fairness rules there are, they can succeed. Thank you very, very much for everything you do. Thank you for growing a generation of children. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.